Hello everyone, welcome to Yuan Production. In today's video, finally, we're gonna talk about this drama that I believe it has been mentioned a million times after it aired. The most popular survival show in 2021, Squid Game. There are some pretty awesome Korean dramas and variety shows that came out in the fall of 2021, like DP, Squid Game, Street Woman Fighter, but no one could predict Squid Game's insane popularity. It has been viewed by 111 million accounts on Netflix, which makes it the biggest series at launch. People can get costumes and little figurines online. Big creepy dolls from the red light green light are displayed in Philippines and Australia. Fans are cutting out their honeycombs for the Dalgona challenge. It's not just a show anymore, it has become a phenomenon. After this show came out, the dystopian setting reminded people of other shows like Alice in Borderland, which aired on Netflix last year. There are also reports accusing Squid Game of plagiarizing other movies, and director Hwang Dong-hyuk had to dismiss these issues in his interviews. But I think it is safe to say that Japanese survival manga and shows have deeply influenced Squid Game. As from director Hwang's interviews, he mentioned that before he created Squid Game, he had read a lot of manga revolving around life and death games. Like Squid Game's protagonist, he was pretty broke at the time and was relying on his mom's allowance. So this competition idea sounds like a plausible way to make some money. So today we're going to take a look at what Japanese films that might have inspired Squid Game. For people who don't know what Squid Game is, the story is about a divorced dad, Song Gi-hoon, who owes a lot of money to the loan sharks. In order to earn some money in the shortest time, he decides to enter a mysterious survival game. The final prize stunned every contestant. It's 45.6 billion won, or $38 million. With this money, Song Gi-hoon could pay the debt. He could treat his mom, who has diabetes and needs to be hospitalized immediately. He could also provide a better life for his daughter, who lives with her mom and stepdad. But everyone in this game is as desperate as Gi-hoon, so he needs to fight hard for the prize. First, I would like to talk about the film score. Squid Game has a lot of well-known classical music. Contestants are awoken by the sound of Haydn's trumpet concerto. Players are taking their lunch in Tchaikovsky's Serenade for Strings. In fact, it is pretty common for horror and thriller films to use classical music. In The Silence of the Lambs, the music composer chose Bach's Aria da Capo to present Hannibal Lecter's elegant and calculated escape plan.
Hey, Doc, grab some flour.
Same drill as before, please.
In The Clockwork Orange, the protagonist Alex's favorite music is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. But there is another film that might have influenced Squid Game with similar tactics. The classical cult film Battle Royale. Battle Royale's story sets in the future Japan, a depressing period when Japan's economy is collapsing. People are losing their jobs. Teenagers' crime rate is soaring. The government implemented a new law called the BR Act to discipline young students. The act is to pick one class from all the junior schools in the nation, then place them on a remote island. With an explosive charged collar on everyone's neck, they have 3 days to kill each other until one final winner emerges. Otherwise, the collar will explode to kill the entire class. After every round, when the teacher stands in the military base, announcing the names of the students who were killed in the game, the film scores were always uplifting and beautiful. In the second round, the background music is the famous Blue Danube.
みんなお腹空いたろう。ちょっと殺し合いは休憩して食事にしましょう。それじゃあ朝から今まで死んだ人の名前を発表します。第3番
Created by Johann Strauss Jr. in 1867, it's a romantic piece to lift the spirits of Vienna people who lost their war. The cheery melody creates a distinctive contrast. Adults are chilling in a military base, while teenagers are killing their beloved classmates in order to survive. The Blue Danube was also being played for all the contestants on another remote island where Squid Game is happening. It is played before they enter the game. It welcomes them after they complete one round. It is also the dinner music for the 3 finalists. The elegant classical music creates an unnatural atmosphere. Step by step, players are being manipulated into this death trap. But for the black masked man and his soldiers, for the host, for those rich millionaires, it's merely an annual entertainment. The classy waltz that comes out of the speakers dissociates these cruel games from vulgarity, but it reinforces the idea that there is a mastermind behind all of these. The poor players were thrown into an intricate and brutal system, which encourages them to kill each other under the temptation of money. The next one is the use of children's games. The mastermind behind Squid Game is Oh Il-nam. He designed everything based on the games that he had played when he was a little kid. The rules are easy to follow. The colorful interior design recalls innocent childhood memories. Audiences feel related, since these games are what most of the kids used to play in their neighborhood. However, it is these children's games that lead hundreds of adults to violence and bloodshed. In the Squid Game, the worst massacre happened in the first round. Red light, green light. The giant doll turns around, shoots all the moving contestants on the ground. This visually shocking scene reminds audiences of another Japanese film, As the Gods Will. As the Gods Will aired in 2014 and was adapted from a manga published in 2011. The story starts with an ordinary high school student who is forced to join a series of deadly games with his classmates. Like Squid Game, all the competitions are children's games. All the students have to play with traditional dolls to survive. The first game is Daluma Sanga Kolonda, which is the Japanese version of red light, green light. When the Daluma doll turns back and starts counting, all the students have to move forward to press the button on the back of the Daluma to end the game. If the time runs out or they move when the Daluma turns around, their heads will explode. Other well-known children's games like Cat and Mouse, Kick the Can will also appear in As the Gods Will. So why did these two films choose children's games? It's Squid Game simply copying As the Gods Will. According to Squid Game's director's interview, he created Squid Game around 2008 and 2009, which was before As the Gods Will. He also believed that the simplicity of the games is what makes Squid Game different from other Japanese survival shows. From most of the Japanese manga that he read, the games are complicated and elaborate. These might be alright in the manga, because readers can stop at any time to figure it out. But it can be perplexing for TV audiences, since they don't have that luxury. In fact, what director Huang said might be true. Most of the popular Japanese survival shows are adapted from manga. Hence, they often have complicated games that incorporate psychology, probability theory, and game theory. One example is the Liar Game that aired in 2007 and 2009. The basic plot is, after getting invited into a tournament called the Liar Game Tournament, where contestants have to cheat each other to win the prize, a young college student, Kanzaki Nao, attempts to defeat the Liar Game organization with the help of a con artist, Akiyama Shinichi. In the show, Akiyama uses his intelligence and psychological skills to negotiate with other contestants, while Kansaki Nao firmly believes that no one should lie, and she keeps saving as many in-depth players as possible. If Squid Game wins audiences' hearts with its kids' games, Liar Game gains its popularity based on Shinobu Kaitani's intricate game designs. Many unique games were created by the manga author Shinobu Kaitani. Minority Rule, Contraband Game, 24-shot Russian Roulette, Angels and Demons. All of these are really well designed, but without a detailed explanation and the graphics on the side, the audience might get lost in the show. For Squid Game, the simple game setting certainly benefited the series, leaving space for the director to create diverse characters and explore their background stories. Many side roles have revealed their past throughout the games, and the audience feel relatable to their experience. Even though As the Gods Will also used a simple game setting, the fact that all the contestants are Japanese high school students gives writers less variety for character development. The last game I'd like to mention is the Glass Bridge game. The Glass Bridge game is very crucial. It is the last but one game, and it is the first live play for VIP guests. As masked millionaires enter a luxurious room decorated by painted naked bodies, the contestants are standing on the glass floors that could break in one misstep. Similarly, in Kaiji, The Ultimate Gambler, a manga-adapted film that aired in 2009, there is one round called the Brave Man Road. The protagonist Kaiji joins a gambling competition in order to pay off his debt, but he loses the game and is sent to build an underground city for an evil empire. The only way out of this exploitation is to participate in the Brave Man Road. All the players have to cross a narrow bridge that's 22 stories high above the ground. Electric current runs through the steel beam bridge, causing anyone who touches the bridge to get stunned and fall off. When contestants could barely balance themselves, the upper-class people were sitting in a room. They were applauding and cheering in a frenzy whenever a player fell from the bridge. From these two live shows, these films displayed two groups of people. People who have everything and people who have nothing. Song Ki-hoon and Kaiji were in a similar state. No money, have a lot of debt. Hoping for a miracle, they spent their days on gambling. And all of a sudden, somebody came by and offered them a chance that not only could pay off their debt, but could also make them millionaires. They seized the chance but entered a dystopian world built by the upper class. Throughout the games, they both realized that they've been exploited by the system. Kaiji discovered that the little money he had earned is ultimately returning to the empire by consuming. Song Ki-hoon started questioning who created the Squid Game in the end. They both concluded that it was the system that's wrong, not the contestants. Even though the two protagonists might not realize that they've been watched when they cross the bridge, as audiences, we could see what these live shows represent. Games were created for bored millionaires. Rules were set up and changed to please them. Winning from the bloody games means nothing, but the success of an exciting show. After Squid Game came out, people are wondering what makes Squid Game so popular that it became the most watched show in 94 countries. And even though Japan has released many survival TV series and films over the years, none of them ever got this level of popularity. Of course, the fact that Squid Game is being displayed and promoted on Netflix, the world's biggest streaming platform, definitely helped. The nostalgic and colorful game settings also make it easier to attract audiences globally. But perhaps what made Squid Game explode is what made Kaiji popular in Japan: the timing. When the manga Kaiji firstly published in Japan, it was in the early 90s. At this time, Japan's economy was in stagnation after its economic miracle bubble had bursted. Jobs were difficult to find. The wages were low. Everyone was experiencing a big, depressing recession. A manga like Kaiji that discusses social inequality makes people feel related to. Similarly, aired in the middle of a pandemic, the little dystopian society that Squid Game created could greatly tie into our unfair and economically challenging world. Shops are closed, travels are restricted, the rising unemployment. People feel extremely relatable when they see the characters are trapped in debt and poverty. I guess after 13 years of struggling to make this film, director Huang chose the right year for Squid Game's debut. If you're here, thank you so much for watching. Unfortunately, Omicron is still spreading all over the globe as I'm writing this. It's probably another year filled with quarantine, isolation, and frustration. But I hope everyone eats well, sleeps well, and is surrounded by love in 2022.